Hi, superstars. It is time for science. We are on the module weather, and this is lesson 1. Open up your Be a Scientist notebook to page 72. We're going to be talking about weather patterns. All right, let's look at these three friends. They're talking about the weather. One of these friends is describing a weather pattern. So right here, Omar, he's right here, he says, it is very cold today. Maria, who's right here, says, January is colder than June. And last is Aaron. Aaron says, it snowed for 5 hours. I want you to choose the friend that you think is describing a weather pattern. Is it Omar, Maria, or Aaron? Choose the one you think is describing a weather pattern. Okay, I want you to choose one, then we're going to go over it. And it's okay if you don't get it right. Choose who you think is describing a weather pattern. Okay. The person who is describing a weather pattern is Maria, right here. She provides the best answer. January is colder than June. Weather from season to season follows a pattern. So in the northern hemisphere where we're from, there's a general pattern of cold or cool winters, cool or warm springs, hot summers, and warm or cool falls. So this pattern repeats year to year. And Maria is describing a temperature pattern that repeats from year to year. Patterns are used in science to make predictions. For example, knowing the seasonal pattern of temperature helps us to predict what kind of clothes we need for January. All right, make sure your name and date is at the top of your paper. Let's watch a video about the different seasons. So watch how the tree changes in different seasons. So what did you see in the video? What did you notice about the weather in the different seasons? Did you see how the tree changed in the different seasons? There was summer, and then there was fall. So in summer, it's nice and hot. And then the fall comes around and the leaves change colors and they start falling off. And then you get winter, no leaves on the trees. And then spring comes and the leaves start growing again. So weather is a pattern. We can predict the weather. Open up to page 73 in your Be a Scientist notebook. Make sure you put your name and the date at the top. We watch the video and we saw the weather in different seasons. So you think about the seasons, and what did you wonder about weather in these seasons? Did you see a pattern? Here he's asking, I wonder if there are patterns in the weather. Yes, there are. In the summertime, it's hot. What happens in the fall? It starts getting cool. The leaves start changing color. And then winter comes and it's cold and all the leaves are off the trees. And then springtime comes and it starts warming up again. And the pattern continues. So the weather patterns that we observed are the seasons: winter, fall, and then we have spring and we have summer. Here it's asking, which seasons do you see? Well, right here, what is this? They're playing with leaves. That means the leaves fell from the trees. So what season do you think they're in? They are in fall. The leaves fall off the trees in fall. So over here, you are going to trace the word fall. F-A-L-L, fall. Let's watch a video of Hugo. Hugo wants to be a meteorologist. He likes to learn about weather. He looks for weather patterns.
Hi, my name's Hugo. Wow! Did you see and hear that? That scared me a little, but I love thunderstorms and I think it's about to rain. I used a lot of tools to observe and measure the weather, like a thermometer, a rain gauge, and this anemometer. Phew! Anemometer is a hard word to say. I used the anemometer to measure the speed of the wind. These tools help me identify patterns in the weather. These patterns help me predict what the weather will be like. Someday, when I become a meteorologist, that's a person who studies the weather, I'll use these tools and high-tech equipment to study the weather. The weather can change very quickly, and meteorologists help us know what the weather will be like. Looks like I was right. Here comes the rain.
So why would a meteorologist want to be able to see weather patterns? Patterns make predictions easier, and meteorologists predict the weather so people can prepare for it. Turn to page 74 in your Be a Scientist notebook. Make sure you have your name and date at the top, of course. So this is an activity, and you can do a nature walk. You can walk outside with an adult, and you can look around to get clues about the season and what season we're in right now. So you're going to look for clues outside. Here's clue number 1, clue number 2, and clue number 3. So the seasons are all different, but we can predict them because we know which months are the coldest, which months are the hottest, and which months have the most rain, right? So you can go on a walk outside. You can look outside. If you don't want to go outside, you can just look outside of a window and get some clues to what the season is, what season we're in right now. You can look at the trees to get some clues. You can look outside. You can think about how hot or cold it is. So draw 3 clues. Down here he says, what clues tell you about the season? So you're going to be a detective and you are going to find clues to tell what season we're in right now. How do you think day-to-day weather compares to the seasons? the weather each day is similar to the weather for that season. So a day in summer is hot, like summer is hot. And how does knowing about the seasons help you prepare for the weather? Knowing which season it is helps us to know how to dress and how to act. For instance, in summer, we can wear light clothing, short sleeves, we can go swimming, but we can't do that in the winter because we know in winter it's cold, right? What patterns do you notice about weather in the seasons? In the winter, it's the coldest. In spring, it's warmer than winter and it's rainy. In summer, it's the hottest season and it's dry. Fall is cooler than summer, but it's not as cold as the winter. So on page 75, right here, put your name and date, and you are going to record data. You're going to draw pictures to show the clues that you found from page 74. So drawings to represent the clues about this season that we're in right now. Let's read about weather and seasons.
Weather and seasons. Different kinds of weather. Weather is what the sky and air are like each day. The sun shines on a sunny day. Clouds block the sun on a cloudy day. Clouds form tiny drops of water that gather in the sky. The air is dry on some days, but on rainy days, the water in the clouds falls as rain. On a snowy day, the water freezes and falls as snow. Weather can also be windy. Wind is air that blows things around. The four seasons. A season is a time of the year. Each year has 4 seasons: spring, summer, fall, and winter. In general, spring weather is warm and summer weather is hot. Fall weather is cool and winter weather is cold. People dress differently for different weather. Weather changes from day to day. The sun warms the air, changing the temperature. Temperature is how hot or cold the air is. A thermometer is used to measure the temperature. In some places, it can be hot most days or cold most days. Florida has mostly hot weather. Alaska has mostly cold weather. Spring and summer. Spring has more hours of sunlight than winter. The sunlight warms the land. A lot of rain can fall in the spring. The sunlight and rain help plants and trees begin to grow. Also in spring, many animals are born. Plants are food for many animals. Summer comes after spring. It is the season with the warmest weather and the most hours of sunlight. The weather in summer can be very dry. Warm weather helps fruits and vegetables grow. Summer weather is good for playing outside. Fall and winter. Fall comes after summer. It has fewer hours of sunlight than spring and summer. The weather is cooler with less sunlight. In some places, leaves change colors and fall off plants and trees. Winter comes after fall. It has fewer hours of sunlight than fall. It is the season with the coldest weather. In some places, it will snow. Some plants die. Some plants and trees lose all their leaves. Animals need more fur in winter to keep warm. Weather patterns. In every season, the weather can change throughout a day. For example, a spring morning might be cool and rainy. Then the afternoon becomes warm and dry. Rainy weather can change to sunny weather. A fall morning might be cold and cloudy. Then the wind blows the clouds away, and the warm sun shines. Think about how you would describe the weather trends of the 4 seasons where you live. Cloudy weather can change to sunny weather.
What is your favorite season? Mine probably would be summer. I like to go outside. I can go to the beach. We can go swimming. Which season has the least amount of daylight? The least means the less. So which season has the least amount of daylight? That would be winter. That's why it's colder in winter. There's not as much sunlight in winter. So how does the weather change with the seasons? Well, it's warm in the summer. It gets cooler in the fall. It's cold in the winter, and then it gets warmer in the spring. What pattern do the seasons form? Well, if we start with spring, then the pattern is going to always be spring, summer, fall, and then winter. After winter is spring again, and the pattern repeats. So what season is the warmest? Summer. What season is it most likely to have rain? Spring. During spring, we get the most rain. How do you know when fall happens? Leaves start changing color and they start falling off the trees, and the air gets cooler in the fall. What happens to most plants during winter? They don't grow. Some of them die. Let's put the seasons in order. It says to start with winter. So let's look at these pictures and decide which is representing winter. What does this picture tell us about the season? Does that look like winter? Well, it looks like the leaves are changing color. It looks like this tree doesn't have as many leaves, so they were falling off. So what season do you think this is? Fall. That looks like the fall season. So that's not winter. We're looking for winter to begin with. Look at this. It's raining. There's green leaves. Looks like they're starting to grow again. They're not full on the trees. What do you think this season is? Do you remember the season that it rains a lot in? Spring. This looks like spring. It is spring. We're still looking for winter. Oh, look at this. I don't see leaves, or I don't see too many leaves on these trees. I see snow. Do you think this is winter? I believe it is. So we're going to put winter up at top, and we're going to start with winter. So we have winter. Now, what comes after winter? Remember, there's a pattern. We can predict the weather because we know the pattern that it happens in. So if we have winter, the next season would be spring. We found spring. Let's look again. This looks like spring, so let's put spring over here. So now we have winter, spring. What comes after spring? Not the fall. Summer would come after spring. So let's see this picture. Oh, does this look like summer? It looks like warm weather. Look at all the leaves on this tree. It seems to have grown. There's green grass and weeds on the ground. That looks like summer. So summer is after spring. So let's put this after spring. And what is after summer? We have winter, spring, summer. What happens after summer? The fall. That's when the leaves start changing colors. It gets cooler and the leaves start falling from the trees. So fall would go after summer, and we're going to check to make sure we are correct. We are correct. So the pattern is winter, spring, summer, and fall. Open up your Be a Scientist notebook to page 76. Put your name and date at the top. Let's read our vocabulary words. The first one here is patterns. Patterns. Patterns are a repeated way in which something happens. A repeated way in which something happens. It continuously repeats itself. That is what a pattern is. Season. A season is a time of year. Remember, we have winter, we have spring, we have summer, and we have fall. Spring is the season after winter. Summer is the season after spring. Fall is the season after summer. And winter is the season after fall. So down here, it says, what patterns do the seasons make? We know that in spring, it rains more than any other season. It's cool and warm in the spring, right? Now, summertime, it's warm and hot. In the fall, it's cooler. Not as cold as winter, but it gets cool. And then in the winter time, it gets cool and cold. So over here, we have this diagram and we have two circles. So we have two circles, one is for spring and one is for summer. But in the middle here, this area is going to overlap, and it kind of tells us what's similar between the two, because both of them have this center part in common, okay? So in the spring, over here, because I don't have room, but you're going to write in there, it rains a lot, right? So it's rainy in the spring. Now in the summer, it's hot and it's also dry. So both of them, it says this is different. These two things are different, but the one in the middle is alike. So how are spring and summer alike? Well, in the springtime, it's cool, but it's also warm. In the summer, it's hot, but it's also warm. So warm would be the way that the two seasons make that are alike. So warm would go in the center here. That's how they're both alike. And then we have rainy in the spring and we have dry in the summer. You can turn to page 77. Over here, we're talking about a 5-day forecast. So when you watch the news on TV and they talk about the weather, they usually will tell you a 5-day forecast, how the weather is going to be over 5 days. So this is something optional that you can do. Have your mom or dad or even an older sibling show you the Weather Channel or the news and show you a forecast, a weather forecast of 5 days. And look at that forecast, and you're going to see the different weather that they're telling you it's going to be. So what you would do is you're going to look at each day and you're going to see how are they alike? Are they similar, the weather for those 5 days? And how are they different? And then you're going to draw a picture. Again, this is optional. So if you want to do it, go ahead and do it. Watch a 5-day forecast and just write down how those days are going to be different and how they're going to be alike, and draw a picture of them. Open to page 78 in your Be a Scientist notebook. Make sure you put your name and date at the top. It says circle the seasons. Circle the season shown in each picture. Remember, we spoke about how the seasons were and the patterns of the seasons. So look at this first picture here. What do you see? There's somebody swimming. What season do you think that is? Do you think that is spring, summer, fall, or winter? Remember what the weather's like. Remember, in spring, it's cool, it's warm, it rains mostly, or it rains mostly in spring. In the fall, it's cool. In the winter, it's cold. And in the summer, it's warm and hot. So what season do you think is this first picture here? Do you think it's summer? You're probably right. Look at the next one right here. What are they doing? They're building a snowman. What season do you think they are in? Spring, fall, summer, or winter? Here's the spring, fall, summer, or winter. Circle the one you think they're in. And how about here? They have umbrellas. It seems to be raining. They have puddles on the ground. What season do you think that is? Summer, winter, fall, or spring? Circle the one you think it is. And then the last one over here. What's happening? They're playing with leaves. So that means the leaves are on the ground. They fell off the trees. So what season is it when the leaves fall from the tree? Is it spring, fall, summer, or winter? Okay, circle what you think. Make sure your name and date is at the top of the page. Let's open to page 79. Put your name and date at the top. Seasons in different places. It says, think about seasons in other states. Where would you like to live? Trace your answer. So over here, it's saying seasons in different states. Let me get my marker. So over here, you're going to trace north or you're going to trace south. So we are going to see where you would rather live, in the north or in the south. All right, let's learn about the 4 seasons. And we're going to learn about the seasons in the north and in the south. There are 4 seasons: spring, summer, fall, and winter. Seasons bring different weather. The weather may be different in the north and the south. In spring, there are many hours of sunlight. Sunlight warms the land, air, and water. Spring in the south may be hot. Spring in the north may be cool. So remember, spring in the south may be hot, but in the north, it may be cool. It can also rain a lot in spring. Sunlight and rain help plants grow. Summer is the season after spring. It's the warmest season in the north and south. The weather can be very sunny and dry. Lots of sunlight helps plants grow. Fall is the season after summer. There are fewer hours of sunlight than in summer. Less sunlight makes the air cooler. Some leaves change color and fall off trees. Fall in the north can be cool. Fall in the south can be warm. Winter in the north can be very cold. Winter in the south can be warm. Less sunlight means some plants die. The last of the leaves fall off some trees. Most plants do not grow in the winter. All right, let's go back to our Be a Scientist notebook. So what you're going to do is you are going to trace where you would rather live, in the northern states or in the south. Remember what we talked about, the seasons, where it's colder, where it's warmer. You can go back and listen again. Trace north or south, not both of them. Trace one. Where would you rather live, in the north or in the south? And then down here, what is your favorite season? Use an X for each answer. So you're going to pick a favorite season. Is it the fall? Is it the winter, spring, or summer? So you're going to pick one, only one, and you're going to put an X next to your favorite season. You do not have to pick summer. I just put it there as an example, and I do prefer summer, but there's winter, spring, and fall also. So put an X at your favorite season and trace where you would most likely like to live, north or south. Let's turn to page 80 in our Be a Scientist notebook. Put your name and date at the top. If you would like to do this on a separate, larger piece of paper, you can do that. And you can also use page 80 to do this project. What you're going to do is you are going to draw pictures in each of the seasons. And you're going to draw a picture of a tree. But I want to see what that tree looks like in the different seasons. Let's go back and look at the video as a reminder so you can see what happens to the tree in different seasons. All right, let's see what happens to this tree. On page 80, you're going to draw a tree, can be similar to this, and you are going to draw this tree in the different seasons. So let's see what happens. This is summer. Everything's green, has a lot of leaves on it. This looks like fall is happening. The leaves are changing color, starting to fall. And this is winter. There are no leaves. There's no grass on the floor. Now right here, this is spring. You got little leaves, and then you have summer. So what you're going to do is draw a tree. You're going to color it, different colors in each season to show what happens to it. All right, so you are going to draw a tree Now, you can draw a tree in each box, right? With its branches. And then we're going to see what happens to this tree in the different seasons, right? You're going to color the surroundings because remember there's grass on the ground, different colors. You can do it on this paper. You can get another piece of paper, a larger piece of paper if you would like. Remember what happens in spring, summer, fall, and winter. So it's going to be the same tree, and we're going to see how it changes through the seasons. Turn to page 81. Put your name and date. It says, what weather patterns do you observe in the seasons? Okay, remember the weather patterns in each season. They're always repeating themselves. So in the winter, what's the weather like? So winter is, let's write it. Winter is cold, snowy in some parts, right? How about spring? How is spring? How's the weather? Spring is warm. And what else happens in spring? It rains. So it's warm and rainy. Remember, it's a pattern. We can always predict the weather because it's a pattern. How about summer? Summer is, what is summer? Hot. And how about the fall? Fall is, what happens in fall? Leaves start falling and it is cool. It's not cold, but it gets cool. All right, good job, superstars. You're doing wonderful. I'm very proud of you. Until next time, have a wonderful day. Bye.